Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Samson, and in today's video, we have a special treat for you guys. But before I get started, if you're into all things automotive, firearm, and fitness, make sure that you consider hitting that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on every single thing. But like I said, in today's video, we have a Dodge Viper SRT10. Now, for many of you may not know, the Dodge Viper is the ultimate supercar from Dodge, basically. A lot of people think of GM as having the Chevrolet Corvette. Ford has the Ford GT or GT500, depending on who you talk to. And Dodge came out a long time ago with this 8.3-liter V10 monster. This car was at the top of the game when it came to performance. The first gen Vipers are a little bit unsafe.
Oh
shit! They didn't have a whole lot of technology, so you got in, you had that big V10, you could get into a lot of trouble really quick. However, as they progressed, more and more people started to like them, but it wasn't enough, and Dodge ultimately ended up canceling the Viper. I believe it was just a little bit too of a high price point for people to try to go in and get a Viper when they could get something like a Corvette or some Mustangs that had similar performance, maybe not the same exclusivity as the Viper. But in today's video, we're gonna go over some of the specs on this one, talk about some of the things that makes it so special, some of the things I like, some of the things I think you'll definitely like. But just like that, let's get into the video. Now, like I mentioned, the Dodge Viper is, in my personal opinion and in the opinion of many other people, the ultimate performance car from the Americas. Many of you may recognize this particular version from some of the Fast and Furious movies. They also used the Dodge Viper in their movies as well. Coming down to the front of this Dodge Viper, Dodge really encompasses the whole snake design. If you look at the front of this car, it really does look like a Viper that is ready to just jump out and bite you if you get a little bit too close. Coming down to the front of the bumper area, you do get these absolutely massive openings in the front, allowing as much air as possible to make it to those radiators to help cool the car. Just a real mean looking setup in the front of this car. And when you saw this wide open mouth coming down the road, you knew that it was coming to get you if you did not get out of the way. Coming to the sides, you do have your fog lights, which is very nice for Dodge to include with the car, as well as your Viper badge right here in the front. You do have these very sinister headlights. Love how the headlight design starts out wide and sort of tapers off towards the center. You do get your 3 headlight casings with your projector beam right here, as well as your turn signal and running light on either side. But just the headlight design of this car also really insinuates that snake type look that Dodge was going for. It just looks real mean, almost like it's just angry at you, getting ready to go ahead and strike out. Now, one interesting note about the Dodge Viper that a lot of people don't know is that Dodge does not put their hood opening latch in the traditional location like you would be used to seeing in the actual interior. Instead, Dodge puts the latch underneath right here in this front grille area. So if you don't know what you're looking for, then you might have a hard time opening up your Dodge Viper. However, if you do know what you're looking for, then you also can have an instance where somebody can come in, open your hood latch without you wanting them to. That's one reason why manufacturers actually put the hood latch opening inside the vehicle so that nobody can just come in, open your latch, and get to your engine. Another interesting feature of this car is the badge itself actually has what looks like snake print or skin on the badge. Really adds to that Viper name that this car has when you have the actual imprintation of an actual snake skin with the badge itself. Now, coming up from the bumper to the hood of this car, you can see it does have an absolutely massive amount of venting, and that is to help power and cool off that massive V10 that is under this hood. You do have your 2 sets of heat extractors, or some people like to call them fins, that are on the side of the hood, helping to bring hot air out from underneath that engine bay. And you also have this absolutely massive vent right here in the front that helps power and bring air into that intake. Now, a lot of people may see this vent and think that it's very reminiscent of the Corvette ZR1. And to them, I would say that you are right. This front vent, like the Z06 and like the ZR1 Corvettes, does have that same stylistic feature that helps bring air to the engine, give you all the horsepower that you could possibly want and need. Coming from the hood to the side of this Viper, you can see it is a very, very compact design. In fact, the hood is so massive that it takes up almost half the length of the car. But coming down to the fenders, you do get these absolutely massive, wide, high-arching fenders, as well as a little bit of a styling feature and body line that goes from the front of the fender all the way back here to where the door actually starts. Coming to your wheel and tire setup, you do get an 18-inch rim with 275 width tires. Really like the chrome design that Dodge went with this Viper wheel. I feel like it really, really brings out the character of this car. In back, you do just get 4 piston calipers. Now, many people may think in a lot of your high performance cars, you get 6 piston calipers, and you would be right. However, the Dodge Viper does not weigh a whole lot. And so these 4 piston calipers do allow you all the stopping power that you may need in accordance with having this car perform at the highest level it can. Coming back from the wheel tire setup to this rear vent area, absolutely massive side vent out of this car. And that's to help bring a lot of that air turbulence from out of the wheel well to channel it down in the car. And it also adds to a very, very nice stylistic cue. You can see you do get your Viper SRT 10 script, SRT standing for the performance team at Dodge, and 10 standing for that massive V10 that you have under that hood. However, when it comes to this side vent, you do have different layers, which adds again to the stylistic cue, and you get about, I would say about 2 inches of width just from this vent alone. Coming down from the vent to the side of the car, you can see you do get a side exit exhaust. Now, this did come with a lot of criticism because a lot of people would sometimes end up burning their leg on the exhaust. Now, Dodge did put a disclaimer on a lot of these cars to let you know the exhaust is hot, it's in this area, don't touch it, don't put your legs on it. However, it did come with a lot of backlash having this side exit exhaust just because of how difficult it was to get out of the car without burning yourself. Coming from the exhaust down the side, you do again get these absolutely massive wide hips coming out the back, adding a really nice, almost elegant feature. And with it being as mean looking as it is in the front, this elegant flow of body lines down the side really, really makes the car a little bit more user-friendly when it comes down to styling. In back, instead of the 18s that you get in the front, it is a little bit more staggered. You get a 19-inch rim set up in back. You do still get those 4 piston calipers. So a lot of manufacturers actually go in and they'll give you a big fat caliper in the front, 6 piston or whatever it may be, and then they'll give you a 4 or even a 2 piston caliper in the back. Dodge does give you 4 pistons at all 4 wheels, which, like I said, helps add to the braking capability of this car. But like I mentioned, 19-inch rims, 345 on the width. Absolutely massive tires out back, helping you get all that power from that V10 down to the ground. And it is a very, very wide and girthy setup to this car, especially with those fat 345s in back. Moving around to the back of this Dodge Viper, you may notice that this does have a soft top, and that is because this is a Dodge Viper Roadster. Roadster being the ability to actually remove the top or have it retract and then have a bit more of an open air experience. That way you can actually enjoy your traveling, have a little bit more fun with the car. Many people prefer a coupe. I prefer a coupe as well. I like the hard top look of cars a little bit more than I do the soft top look. However, when it comes to functionality and actually being able to have a little bit more fun on the road, a bit of a soft top convertible, hard top convertible if you can, is always a good way to go. Coming around from the side to the back, you can see the absolute beauty of the rear of this car. Whereas it's so aggressively styled in the front, it does have a really, really beautiful effect to it. Here in back, you can see you do have just a little bit of a kick right here where the spoiler would be. You do have a little bit of a kick that Dodge gives you from factory just to add a little bit more stylistic cue to the car. You do get your middle brake light right here in the center, as well as these really, really beautiful all red tail lights. I feel like the design of these taillights It's not overstyled. It's not too complicated. Just a really simple design to the car, as well as this rear bumper. Now you do have your VIPER script right here on the back of the rear bumper to let folks know exactly what you have. That way that they aren't confused when you're flooring it past them. You also get a bit of a diffuser here in the back of the VIPER as well. They give you a cutout where the bottom of the bumper is, and then a diffuser underneath. Just a real nice styling feature to this car, especially the diffuser. So many cars don't come with diffusers, or they come with a little makeshift setup that isn't actually functional. Dodge does give you function with this diffuser. Really nice setup. But how about we go and we take a look up under the hood, this absolutely massive hood, and see what's powering this Dodge VIPER SRT10. All right, guys, I apologize for the rain. It is a little bit stormy, but I am gonna get this content for you guys. Coming up under the hood, you can see you have this beautiful and absolutely massive 8.3 liter Dodge V10 engine. Now, this one is pushing out just a little over 500 horsepower, right around 505 horsepower. When you're talking about MPGs, who cares about MPGs when you had that V10? But you're looking at right around 12 in the city, about 21 in the highway. You do have a 6-speed manual transmission, as was fitted with all Dodge VIPERs, which gave you the ultimate driving experience. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this car isn't too heavy. Only weighs about 3,400 pounds. And so with that V10 at 500 horsepower and that 6-speed manual transmission, you can get about a 0 to 60 of right around 3.7 seconds. Absolutely massive numbers for this car. Now, you guys can see just how massive this hood is. It sits at least, I don't know, almost 7 feet tall when you open it completely up. Just a real wide setup. Very beautiful engine bay, and it's hard to beat a manual V10 engine. Lamborghini has a V10, the Porsche Carrera GT, that's going for millions of dollars now with that manual version that you can get of it. Overall, I think this car is going to escalate in value the more and more people start to realize just how special it is and how limited it is as well, due to the low production numbers that they made. The ingenuity behind this engine is just otherworldly. You can see your absolutely massive scoop for bringing air into that engine right here in the front. The red valve covers, just an absolutely beautiful car. You guys heard it earlier. Sounds absolutely insane. But how about we go take a look at the inside, see what type of interior you get on this Dodge VIPER, and see how you might like it. All right, guys, getting onto the inside of this Dodge VIPER SRT10. Overall, a very simplistic interior. Not a whole lot going on. It is a very enclosed cabin. People talk about the new Ford GT and how close you sit to each other in that cabin. This overall, it's about the same way. Very close quarters, but to the gauge cluster, you do get these beautiful white gauges with a very nice speedometer of 210. Many people probably aren't going to get to that 210 mile per hour mark. However, you do get it. And Dodge gives you a plethora of gauges with your center gauge cluster. You do get your oil pressure gauge, your oil temperature gauge, and also your regular battery, as well as actual temperature gauge for your car and your coolant. Very nice setup, and I love that the gauges are white. Dodge has also done the white gauges with their Dodge Demon, and everybody loves that. And it's the same with this VIPER. Coming to the steering wheel, you do get a leather-wrapped steering wheel with this textured, it looks like carbon fiber. You could call it snake skin. It's just a textured design pattern in the leather on the top and bottom of the steering wheel, but it is very simplistic. You do get your VIPER logo in the center. Not a whole lot of buttons on the steering wheel, however. We are talking about a 2004 car, so you do have a very simplistic design. As far as the dash goes, everything on the dash is leather-wrapped, soft-touch material. The main focus point of this car with the gauge cluster and with this center console area is driver focused. The passenger does not get any involvement whatsoever. Everything else on the dash made out of leather, very nice soft touch material. You do get your tried and true 6-speed manual transmission, and I will tell you, it does feel, it's not as buttery smooth as you would think of it being in a lot of other cars. You do actually have to make sure that you are getting that transmission in the gear. Otherwise, you might just miss a gear. However, I can imagine the driving experience of it is absolutely out of this world. Very, very nice. You do get your climate control vents in the center. This one does have an aftermarket radio and infotainment system, because the original one, like I said, it is an 04, a little bit outdated. So the previous owner did go in and revise this system, give you a touch screen, give you a little bit more capability with your radio functions and everything. Keeping it with this center console area, you do have a fairly decent sized center console for storage. You do have a cigarette lighter in here as well, and it does have that soft touch material. Like I said, you do have your parking brake here in the center, so that whenever you are on a hill or something, all you need to do is pull that up and it'll keep you in place. Moving on to the door panels. The door panels on this car are very, very simplistic. Not a whole lot of buttons, not a whole lot of anything except for a speaker, your door handle, and your switch. That is all you get. It is a leather material. The entire door is leather, which is a plus. You don't have a whole lot of plastic on the door like you're accustomed to seeing on a lot of cars. It is a plus that it is made completely out of leather. But like I said, very simplistic, just like the rest of this interior. Coming to the seats, you do get these very, very nice seats, which I'm very surprised for this year model car. You do get Alcantara inserts in the middle, as well as heavy, heavy bolstering on the sides. If you're a little bit of a bigger person, like I mentioned, it is tight and the seats are very bolstered. You might not be able to fit in here. However, it is a very, very nice design on the seat. You do get your rear pass-throughs in the top of the seat, just in case you might want to fit a harness in here of some sort, go racing. And you also get your VIPER logo embossed into the actual seat as well. Very, very nice design on the seats. In the center, you do get your Alpine stereo system with those two speakers in the back that act as your subwoofers. Like I said, you do have your door speakers and your speakers right here in the back. But like I said, it is very, very small in here. Not a whole lot, very simplistic, and overall, a very, very nice design to the interior of this car. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished a full review of the 2004 Dodge Viper SRT10. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Dodge did discontinue the Viper, which is unfortunate. You get an American V10 powered car. There is a manual. However, they did discontinue it, which means that values of these cars are absolutely skyrocketing, and they're only going to get higher. This one right here, right around 20,000 miles, the dealer is selling it for about $52,000. However, that is a steal considering that some lower mileage examples are selling from upwards of $80,000, $100,000. So it sort of depends. If this is something that you like, make sure that you get out there and get them before it's too late. Let me know how you guys like the review. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know any other things you would like to see on the channel, as well as anything that you may have thought that you wanted to see on this Viper, your favorite feature about it, whatever the case may be. I love interacting with you guys. But just like that, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.